Hey everyone, it's Brandy from Brandy Janae's Book Show. It's always really weird when I say my channel name because I don't say it a lot. But I know not everyone knows how to pronounce the name, especially with the spelling that I have. But anyway, like I said, it's Brandy Janae's Book Show. First, I guess since I didn't say it in my last video, completely forgot. Welcome to all my new subscribers. I feel like I think I have been shouted out in like 2 different videos recently, or maybe just one video, and then on Twitter as well a couple times. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel recently. I think I'm almost up to 500 subscribers, which honestly I didn't think that was like my goal, to hopefully reach 500 by the end of the year. But honestly, like, my channel has been growing really slowly. I think I'm going on my 2-year mark, or I'm at my 2-year mark now. So yeah, I'm surprised, but I'm happy. So thank you again. I'm not going to take up too much time on this. Anyway, for this video I am doing the Halloweener book tag. Every time I think of that, I'm gonna just laugh. This tag was created by Amanda from The Naughty Librarian, and she also tagged me in this. There are 10 questions for this tag, and yeah, let's just get into it, I guess. Number 1 is witches. Pick a book featuring magic, witchcraft, or spells, and I'm going to pick a book that has all 3. I'm pretty sure it has all 3, and that one is Drink Deep by Chloe Neal, and I believe this is the 5th book in the Chicagoland Vampire series. I might be wrong about that, but I think it's number 5. So this book is following Merritt, who gets turned into a vampire in the first book, but we also find out in the first book her best friend Mallory is actually a witch. She didn't know she was a witch until Merritt got turned into a vampire and she was around them, and they was just like, you have magic. It was really weird. But in this book we focus a lot on, I don't want to say we focus a lot on Mallory, but Mallory plays a big part because, one, she's a witch. There are some crazy things going on that people say are centered around witchcraft and all of these things, and Merritt is kind of going around trying to figure out what the heck is going on in the city, because things are going really crazy in the city. Everyone's blaming it on the vampires, but it ends up being like a witch problem. So yeah, if you've read this book you will know why. But yeah, this is a really big one that has a lot to do with witches, witchcrafts, and I believe some spells are also centered around there somewhere. Number 2 is ghosts. Pick a book featuring ghosts or ghouls, and for this one I decided to go with Halfway to the Grave by Janine Frost. I do not have a physical copy of this right now because I picked up the ebook from my like Libby library, like the Libby app through my library or whatever, however it works. This is the first book in the Night Huntress series, and I actually talked about one of the spin-offs in the tag that I posted yesterday. Anyway, this book follows a character named Kat, and she's actually a half vampire, and because she's a half vampire she can see ghosts. I believe all vampires can see ghosts as well, but she can see them too, and there is at least one scene where she goes to speak to this ghost, and it's really strange. But yeah, there are definitely ghosts in this series. Number 3, vampires. Pick a book that sucked the life out of you. I try not to talk about this book that much, but for this one I had to go with Skinwalker by Faith Hunter. This book was terrible. It wasn't completely terrible. There were parts that were somewhat entertaining, but this book dragged on so freaking much. This was one of the books that was picked for the Wicked Spirits book club. I think it was like one of the first picks, and it was just not the book for me. It was so bad for me that I ended up going to Audible and like purchasing the audiobook just to finish this because I wanted to be able to discuss it. And yeah, it was yeah, I finished it and then I returned it right away because I was just like, you know, it wasn't, maybe it gets better as the series goes along, but because this, like, we're following this main character, Jane Yellow Rock. She is, I believe she's Native American, and there's something weird going on because she is sharing a body with this creature, And like she can shift, like because she's sharing this body with this character or with this creature, she has to shift every now and then, or the thing will like take over and like control her and everything. So like in her head she's having this conversation, but because it's like an animal, it doesn't think in complete sentences. It'll be like hunt cat, ooh, meat smell good. It was really weird, and I was not feeling it. And then when she shifted, or when it was like the creature's form, like she was still in the head, but we were following the animal's thought process. It was strange. It took a lot to read. Like I felt like the basics of the story was interesting, and I wanted to know about what was going on, but because that was such a big focus of the story, I was just like, I can't. And I was so upset because when I first heard about this, when she was saying we were going to be reading 2 books, I thought she meant we were going to be reading like 2 books in the same series. So I picked up the first and the second book at the same time, and I don't want to continue on with this. I would not recommend this at all. Number 4 is Werewolves. Pick a book character with a hidden dark side. And for this one, I am going with Ren Saruga. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not completely sure because I don't always understand or know how to pronounce Japanese names. But that is this guy. I just picked this one because he was on the cover. He is one of the male characters in this manga series. So this series is following this girl named Kyoko, who is the orange haired one on the back, if you can see that. It starts off following her as she follows this guy to Tokyo from a smaller town. I can't remember exactly where. I think it's like Kyoto that she's from, or that the 2 of them are from. But she follows this guy to Tokyo because he wants to be a really big musician, and he has her there to pretty much take care of him. So she is working to pay for this really expensive apartment that he wanted to live in. She cooks for him, she cleans, and all of these stuff. But once he starts getting popular and has his manager and all of these stuff, he basically ditches her. So she decides that she's going to get revenge on him by entering into the showbiz world and basically getting so popular that she's more popular than him. So she's going on this main journey, and this guy comes in because he is the lead, or he's like one of the most popular male actors, and she ends up going to his agency because it's the rival agency of this guy that she went to Tokyo with, to ask them to, you know, basically tell them that she wants into show business. And it starts out like he really doesn't like her because he's really passionate about his acting career, and he thinks she's just in it just to play around basically. But yeah, she goes on this whole journey. But anyway, as we are going through her journey, we get to learn a lot more about him, and he had a really dark past in his teenage years. I can't really get into too many details. It's one of those things that you have to read it to understand, but just know that this guy has a really dark side, and it was really interesting, and he's now one of my favorite characters. Number 5 is Mummies. Pick a book featuring an ancient or less ancient curse. For this one, I decided to go with The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. I was trying really hard to think of a book that had some type of curse in it, and I was having a really hard time. But I thought about this one. I'm sure you have heard all about this, but I think it was like 2 centuries ago in this small town in Oregon. These 3 sisters were drowned, and every year they come back to pretty much kill a bunch of guys in town, in this small town. It's a curse. It's been hanging around for 200 years. So I think that's a pretty, I don't know if it's ancient, but it's a pretty long curse. 6 is costumes. Pick a book where the characters must be in disguise. I kind of cheated a little bit with this one because this was another one that I was kind of having a hard time with. I decided to go with Written in Red, and I decided to go with this one because the main character, Meg Corbin, she tries to be in disguise. This book follows this character named Meg Corbin, and she is a blood prophet, and pretty much all known blood prophets are taken away and pretty much kind of held in these homes where they're forced to give prophecies for profit. and Meg ends up running away from one of these places, and she tries to disguise herself by dyeing her hair. She does a really bad job, but she has like her hair is orange or something like that, and it lasts into the second book. I think like her hair is starting to grow out by the second book, but it's still orange. So not like she puts on a full-on disguise, but she definitely does try to disguise herself. So not completely, but it works, I guess. Number 7 is Trick or Treating. Pick a book featuring a heist. And I'm not completely sure if this one fits for that, but I decided to pick it anyway, and that is The Alchemist of Loom. I read this one at the beginning of this year, I think, but I honestly do not remember what happened. I think because I was mainly reading it like at the end of December, and I kind of just finished it off early January. But I'm pretty sure that the two main characters, they're doing multiple stuff that consists of heists. I think the female main character, she's going around stealing a lot of stuff, blowing up places because she's trying to overthrow this system that they're living in. And then she ends up getting this opportunity to try to overthrow the Dragon King. So I believe, like I said, that this consists of many different types of heists. And yeah, hopefully that works for that. Number 8 is Candy. Pick a piece of book candy. And for this one, I went with A Duke by Default by Eliza Cole. Now, I was kind of having a hard time because I wanted to pick like a bunch of different books that I felt like were just sweet and like just book candy for me. And I just decided to go with this one because this is one of my latest favorites. This one does deal with some heavier topics, but overall I just thought this was really sweet and really steamy, and just a book that made me feel really good by the end of it. And yeah, I think it's a really enjoyable read, and one that a lot of people will love, even if you are like branching out into the romance genre. I think this is a good one to try out. Number 9 is Jack-o'-lantern. Pick a book that has a fire in it. And at first I wanted to go with Written and Read by Anne Bishop, because like later on, almost the end of the book, there are things exploding and like people trying to set stuff on fire. But I decided to move this over to my disguise one. And as I was thinking about this, I could have picked a couple different ones, but I decided to go with a book that I don't talk about a lot, and that one is Frostblood by Ellie Blake. And this book is following this fireblood who is trying to survive in this ruling class of Frostbloods. She thinks she's like one of the last of her kind, and she gets caught up because these guys come into town and they're looking for her because they're trying to kill her, because firebloods aren't supposed to exist, and they end up killing her mother because she's trying to save her, and she gets taken captive. Anyway, as you can expect with the fireblood, there will be fire. She is doing like, I don't know if it's called magic, but like she's playing around with the fire that she has the ability to wield in the beginning of this, and in other parts of this book as well. There is definitely fire among all of the ice and snow and all of those things, but yeah, definitely one that has fire in it. And finally, number 10 is horror. Pick one of your favorite scary books. This is another one that I had a really hard time coming up with because I feel like I don't read a ton of scary books. But I decided to pick a book that had really creepy scenes, and I remember being pretty creeped out and kind of scared at moments while reading this one. And that is Blood Promise by Rochelle Mead, and this is the 4th book, I believe, in the Vampire Academy series. In this one, we have the main character, Rose. She goes off to Russia by herself in order to try to kill someone who, I'm not really going to get into that because if you haven't read the series yet, I don't want to spoil anything. I want to reread this soon. But yeah, so she goes off to Russia by herself in order to try to find this person and kill them. And there is a lot of moments that are pretty scary. So the last thing was to tag some friends, and like I said in the tag that I posted yesterday, I feel weird tagging people because I'm posting this on Halloween, and I don't know if anyone is gonna really want to do this past Halloween. I don't really know, but like I said in the other video, if you are watching this video, you are definitely tagged. Your interested in you do this tag, let me know in the comments so I can go check out your stuff and check out what your answers would be for these prompts. Also, if you don't have any type of platform, I would like to see your answers. Leave them down in the comments. You can either answer all of them or just a few of them if you want. I will make sure to leave all the questions in the description box so you guys can check that out. Those are all the questions for the Halloweener. Like I said, I'm probably gonna laugh every time I say that, but yeah, for this book tag, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more from me, make sure you subscribe. Also, like I said at the beginning of this video, thanks again for all the new subscribers to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again later this week for another video. Bye.